Good, good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about how cold is too cold for working in cold weather. Something everybody should be aware of. It's just terrible to be out when it's super, super cold. So let's talk about it just a little bit. What constitutes extreme cold and its effects can vary across all the parts of our country. In regions that really aren't used to winter weather, near freezing temperatures are considered to be extremely cold. So a cold environment forces your body to work harder to maintain its temperature. Whenever temperatures drop below normal and wind speed increases, heat can leave your body more rapidly. It's called wind chill. Wind chill is the temperature your body feels when air temperature and wind speed are combined. For example, when air temperature is 40 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind speed is 35 miles an hour, the effect on exposed skin would be about 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold stress occurs by driving down the skin temperature and eventually your internal body temperature. That's your core temperature. The reason for that is when the wind's blowing, it blows the heat molecule away from your body. Some of the risk factors that contribute to cold stress are 1. Dampness, wetness, dressing improperly and exhaustion. 2. Predisposing health conditions like hypertension, hyperthyroidism, and diabetes. And then 3. Poor physical condition. In a cold environment, most of our body's energy is used to keep the internal core temperature warm. Over time, the body begins to shift blood flow from the extremities, from your hands, your feet, your arms, your legs, and even from your outer skin to your core, which is your chest and your abdomen. This shift allows the exposed skin and the extremities to cool rapidly and increases the risk of frostbite and hypothermia. Combine that scenario with exposed skin to a wet environment, and you might even have trench foot. I'll talk about what that is here in just a little bit. So what are the most common cold-induced injuries and illnesses? Hypothermia, frostbite, trench foot. Trench foot's where you get your feet very wet. So what's hypothermia? Hypothermia occurs when body heat is lost faster than it can be replaced, and the normal body temperature of 98.6 degrees drops below 95 degrees. Hypothermia is most likely at very cold temperatures, but it can occur even at cool temperatures. I know, I've had hypothermia before at about 40 degrees, standing outside in the rain all day long. What are some of the symptoms? Well, the mild symptoms, just let's say an exposed individual would become extremely alert. And then he or she might begin to shiver or shake, and they might start stomping their feet in order to keep warm. Some moderate to severe symptoms would be, as the body temperature continues to fall, symptoms will worsen, shivering will stop, and the worker may lose coordination. They might start fumbling around with items in their hands. They might become confused and disoriented. Then they may be unable to walk or stand. Their pupils will become dilated. Their pulse and breathing will become very slow. And then, of course, loss of consciousness can occur next. A person can die if help is not received immediately. What can be done for a person suffering from hypothermia? Well, a lot of things. Number 1, call 911 immediately. Otherwise, if you don't have a 911 close by, within 30 minutes, Seek medical assistance, some type of medical assistance within your group as soon as possible. Move the person to a warm, dry area. Take off their wet clothing and replace it with dry clothes. Cover up the body with layers of blankets and even with a vapor layer if you can. That might be a garbage bag if you have some around. Do not cover the face. If medical help is more than 30 minutes away, give the person warm, sweetened drinks to help increase the body temperature. Never give them any kind of alcoholic beverages. Don't ever give a drink to an unconscious person either. Place warm bottles or hot packs in their armpits, along the sides of their chest, and in their groin. Call 911 for additional rewarming instructions. If a person is not breathing or has no pulse, well, call 911 for emergency medical assistance immediately and follow their instructions exactly. In some cases of hypothermia, you've got to be very, very careful when you are trying to revive somebody. You can check them for signs of breathing, the pulse, about every 60 seconds. If after 60 seconds the affected worker is not breathing and doesn't have a pulse, then trained workers can start rescue breaths for 3 minutes. Recheck for breathing and pulse, and then you check every 60 seconds. If the worker is still not breathing and has no pulse, you can continue the rescue breathing, but only start chest compressions by direction of a 911 operator or emergency medical services. Let's talk about frostbite for a second. What is frostbite? Anybody ever have frostbite here in the room? Besides good old Jim? Yeah, me. I've had frostbite. It hurts. Frostbite, an injury to the body. It's caused by freezing of the skin and the underlying tissues. The lower the temperature, the more quickly frostbite can occur. It typically affects the extremities, hands, feet, toes. Amputation can be required in really severe cases. So what are the symptoms of frostbite? I don't know if you've ever seen it or not before. Let's say you're out in very cold weather and you get frostbite right here on your cheeks, right? Well, that's going to be a red colored skin develops, and then it's followed with gray or white patches. Numbness might be in the affected part in which you put your hand up here to your cheek. It might feel very firm or in some cases even hard. Blisters can also take place in the affected area. What can you do about frostbite? Well, follow the recommendations that I talked about for hypothermia. You want to get people warm, is what you want to do. Do not rub the area to warm it, because that action can cause even more damage. Don't apply snow or water. Don't break any blisters that might be there. Loosely cover and protect the area from contact. Don't try to rewarm the frostbitten area before getting medical help. For example, don't put a frostbitten hand down into warm water. If frostbite occurs in an area that is rewarmed and it gets frozen again, more tissue damage is going to occur. It's a lot safer for this frostbitten area to be rewarmed by medical professionals. You should give a person warm, sweetened drinks if they are alert, and avoid drinks with any kind of alcohol. So let's talk about trench foot. You don't hear that talked about too much anymore. They normally just use a different name, frostbite. I feel like my foot is frozen. So trench foot or immersion foot is caused by prolonged exposures to wet or cold temperatures. It can occur at temperatures as high as 60 degrees if your feet are constantly wet. Non-freezing injuries occur because wet feet lose heat 25 times faster than dry feet do. To prevent heat loss, your body constricts the blood vessels to shut down circulation at your feet, and the skin tissue begins to die because of lack of oxygen and nutrients that are due to buildup of toxic products. What are conditions of trench foot? Redness of the skin, swelling, numbness, and blisters. What should you do? Call 911 again. Call them immediately. Seek medical assistance if you have somebody who's trained that may be around you. Take off shoes, boots, and wet socks. Dry the feet, and then warm the feet up carefully. Very carefully. Let's talk, just before we stop here, let's talk about dressing properly, right, in these type of temperatures. It's extremely important to prevent cold stress. And the type of fabric worn makes a difference. Cotton loses its insulation value because, well, it becomes wet many times. You're working hard, you're perspiring, the body's still perspiring, and you get a layer of wet that's next to your body. So wool, silk, and most synthetics retain their insulation even when they're wet. So here's some recommendations for working in cold environments. Wear at least 3 layers of loose fitting clothing. So underneath this thing I got on right here, I've got on some long underwear. It's not tight long underwear either. Loose fitting long underwear. This is a polyester type of fabric. It's extremely warm. And I wear it. It also doesn't collect sweat. In this case, I have a real thick sweatshirt on. It does happen to be cotton. Normally I wouldn't have this on. I have another synthetic type of sweatshirt that I wear with these garments. And then I have a coat that goes on over this. I always wear a cap too, a hat. You've got to wear a hat at sun time in order to stay warm, and a close. And of course you've got to have some good gloves. Gloves that have insulation in them that are going to keep your hands warm. Try and use a knit mask to cover the face and mouth. If you've got to work outside in the very cold weather, try and cover up the front of your face right here if you can. And then let's not forget about our feet, right? Let's try and wear some decent boots that are insulated and are going to keep your feet warm. In really cold weather, you're going to have to take a break and warm up a little bit now and then. It's important that you do that when it's so very cold you can't get home. That's all I've got for now. I do have the quiz goal. So, which risk factors below contribute to cold stress? Wetness, dampness, dressing improperly, and exhaustion, predisposing health conditions, hypertension, hypothyroidism, and diabetes, and then four physical conditions. So it's all of the above on number 1. Number 2, wind chill is the temperature your body feels when air temperature and wind speed are combined. True or false? True. What are the symptoms of hypothermia? He or she may begin to shiver and stomp the feet in order to generate heat. He or she will have a tendency to cramp in the lower portions of their legs. The worker may lose coordination and fumble with items in their hands, becoming confused and disoriented. Number 1 and 3, you're not going to get leg cramps. Number 4, what should you do to treat hypothermia if medical help is more than 30 minutes away? Give sweetened drinks if allergic. Place warm bottles or hot packs in the armpits, sides of chest, and groin. Give small sips of warm alcoholic beverages. Numbers 1 and 2. Don't drink any alcohol at all if you really can. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody. Stay warm and please, everybody be safe. Thank you.